Welcome in to Football Guys Sunday Morning Live. I'm Joey. Adam's here. Colton's here. We're excited to talk to you about football. Help you get some starts and sits answered today to get you a win in week 7. Is that where we are, week 7, guys?
Sounds right.
How are we doing? How are we feeling this weekend?
Man, my Devils got a win over Texas Tech yesterday. It's hard to be down. I'm coasting off of that. Devontae Adams, 2 early touchdowns. I have him in a few leagues. Man, I can't complain at all. I'm feeling good.
Yep. Adam, how are you feeling?
Trevor Lawrence, not generational. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, no. And if he is generational, I don't want to be part of that generation. He was my big flag plan this offseason too. I thought this was the year. They built up around him. Liam Cohen coming in. It's going to be T-Law's year. No. Put that law behind bars. We don't want him anymore. All right, well, guys, we're going to hop right into the injuries. So we got a lot to talk about as far as injuries go today. Out today, David Njoku, Garrett Wilson. Now, on David Njoku, real quick, there's a ton of bad weather going on in Cleveland. So it might be a blessing if you had Njoku that you get to pivot off of him. Are we trusting Harold Fannin today at all, Colton?
You know, Fannon's going to see, I would imagine, a slight bump in target share, right? Obviously, Cleveland runs a ton of 12 personnel. I think they run it at the second highest rate in the NFL right now, if I'm not mistaken. But we saw a lot of usage out of the wide receivers last week with Jerry Jeudy being involved against Pittsburgh. Weird game, but I mean, you're going to see a slight bump for Fannin. I also think he's got such a versatile skill set that they're going to find ways to get him involved. You're right. The weather is going to play a factor, but there should be enough of a role that he will see enough volume to be relevant, I think, especially at that position.
Okay. Garrett Wilson will also be out today. Adam, what are we looking on the timetable with Garrett Wilson?
Yeah, I think it is going to be a couple of weeks here with Garrett Wilson. You know, he had an MRI. It sounds like he avoided a major injury. There's some speculation still in terms of what he's dealing with. Is it a ACL sprain, not a full tear? Obviously, a full tear would be season ending. It's potentially a bone bruise. Whoa. And I think it's likely the latter in terms of just kind of his mechanism of injury. Both are multi-week injuries, so I expect Garrett Wilson to miss some time beyond week 7.
Okay. And I apologize. I have a visitor that just popped up on my desk. Oh my God, I'm going to kill this cat. I'm supposed to be on the porch. All right. Oh God, where are we next? Calvin Ridley out today as well. He's going to knock it over. What's going on with Calvin Ridley, Adam?
Yeah, it's a hamstring. You know, I expect we'll talk a lot about hamstring injuries with, Mike Evans and Emeka Egbuka dealing with those type of injuries as well. Typically, a multi-week injury for NFL wide receivers, majority of the sample misses between 1 to 3.5 weeks with hamstring injury. Also carry a high rate of re-injury, which is why some teams are pretty cautious with these kind of soft tissue injuries. So Calvin Ridley out week 7. I would expect him to be out at least week 8 as well.
Okay. And then if we had to start a Tennessee pass catcher, I know we're not wanting to. Is it Chigo Okonkwo, Colton?
I think they're going to be in a pretty pass heavy script in this game. Not that has meant very much anyway, right? This Tennessee offense has been brutal. We also have the element of like, what is it going to look like post Brian Callahan's firing and all of those things. New England is actually giving up the 13th most fantasy points per game to wide receivers. Obviously, it's kind of middle of the pack. This isn't like a super advantageous matchup, but 27.6 points per game. There might be a window here for Eli Kyle Manor. That's somebody that I'm considering in a few places. So
excellent. All right. Josh Downs also being out today. Big news in Washington. Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel are both out today. Adam, I know Terry McLaurin's been out a few weeks now. Deebo, that's kind of a newer one. What are we expecting for pass catchers today for Washington, or with these two especially?
Yeah, well, the Terry McLaurin thing is definitely odd. They keep calling it a quadriceps injury. We've talked about it a little bit on the show. I know I've written about it at Footballguys, where it seems a little funky. You know, I wouldn't totally rule out like a serious groin strain or maybe even like a sports hernia type injury or core related injury, just based on the timeline that he's been dealing with. They keep calling it quad. There might be something else going on. He did return to practice this week, although it was limited, and obviously he's not playing in week 7. So I think he's inching a little bit closer, but this is my big worry with Terry McLaurin. And then with Deebo Samuel, we got a lot of Deebo Samuel questions last week, obviously with Terry McLaurin being out. Washington was a good spot in that Monday night game with Chicago. I talked about, Samuel, typically someone that when he's on that injury report, he does see a significant dip in production, on average 22% over his career, ranking in the bottom 50% in terms of wide receivers, expected fantasy points coming off of injury. So he's somebody, when he's nicked up, he just doesn't produce. We don't get those Deebo Samuel ceiling games. I think you saw him a little bit limited in that last game against Chicago. So although surprising given his injury designation with the heel injury, that's mostly a pain tolerance thing. Sounds like Deebo and the team decided to shut it down for a game to allow him to get healthy. I don't expect this to be a long-term thing, though.
Okay, good. I think we're all happy to hear that. Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall both still out today. Are we looking at a bye week situation with these guys? Like it's going to be until the bye week, or are we now past that with San Francisco?
So with Ricky Pearsall, it has not been confirmed, but it sounded like a PCL sprain. People that obviously roster Brock Bowers know how that's been frustrating. So not surprising to see Ricky Pearsall. 49ers don't have a very late bye this week. Week 14 is their bye. So Brock Purdy saw some reports this morning that there's a good chance that he's back in week 8. He came back a little bit sooner than he probably should have with that turf toe injury because he suffered a re-aggravation when they were playing the Jaguars. 49ers want to make sure that he's 100% and then that they're not doing this one step forward, 2 step back thing with Brock Purdy. I think he's close given his injury. Turf toes, typically not that limiting for NFL quarterbacks. So I think we could see Brock Purdy back next week.
All right. And Christian Kirk also out today. Questionable. Jacoby Myers is questionable today. Any news on Myers if he's going to play or not today?
I'm leaning towards him playing. The thing that's tough with Jacoby Myers, and I wrote about this a little bit as well last night, I'm wondering how much the trade rumors are going into his playing time and his availability. So that's always tough when we're trying to forecast injuries. And then we've got this unknown based on what's going on behind the scenes with the trade market with Jacoby Myers. It's a tough situation. It's a sticky situation. I'm trying to avoid him where I can, just given the uncertainty.
Okay. Avoid the tough and sticky. Very tough and sticky is Josh Jacobs. That is going to be a true game time decision. The plane taking off late to get to Arizona doesn't help us in this at all. So I know with this, we're just kind of waiting to see what happens before then, before in game time. So hopefully get some news sooner rather than later.
I will say on Josh Jacobs real quick, I do have him projected to play, but it is tough. He was a full participant on Friday. If you like reading, between the tea leaves there, they did activate Pierre Strong in Green Bay. Some people were worried about that. And then if you look at Vegas, some people think Vegas has got the NFL script. Emmanuel Wilson is now -200 to score an anytime touchdown. Typically, Vegas has a little bit of insight in terms of what's going on. That's the worst odds of any Green Bay player to score an anytime touchdown. So seems like there is some speculation that Josh Jacobs is going to miss.
Okay. Zach Ertz, questionable. Hopefully he does play today, because if he does, he should get enough work with both Deebo and Terry McLaurin being out. Darnell Mooney, also questionable today. And then for Monday night, we put him on here only because Joey's a Bucs fan. No, because this is a really big question for fantasy managers right now. Mike Evans and Emeka Egbuka, both questionable. And Adam, I want to put our Emeka Egbuka beef aside on this one. I do not expect him to play this week. I see them just holding him out until after the bye.
I do not. And I will say this about Emeka Egbuka. I think it's a great sign that he was back in practicing on Saturday, even though it was in a limited fashion. I think that bodes well potentially for his availability in week 8. We all speculated, this is the part of the season where we look at bye weeks and we go, Bucks have a bye in week 9. So Emeka Egbuka, hamstring injury, multi-week injury, he's going to be out until at least week 10. I do think he could come back in week 8. This is the tough thing with soft tissue injuries. I talked about high injury rates with the hamstring strains. And then some people were messaging me online talking about, well, is it possible that, the Bucs just pulled Emeka Buka for precautionary measures? And then that is possible. That is a likely scenario, or I should say a possible scenario, not necessarily likely. But here's the thing. I don't think they would have pulled him that quickly and ruled him out that quickly if it was just a precautionary thing. And then keep in mind, this is a guy, Emeka Buka, that was playing through like a hip flexor strain, quad type injury earlier in the season. I think if he had just like tweaked it or was tight, they would let him play through this. The fact that they pulled him, ruled him out so quick, I do think he probably has a low grade 1 hamstring strain. It'd be wise of them to give him at least 1 week to recover from that injury.
All right. Now on to some positive news. Expected to play today, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Swift, and we'll get through these quick so we can get to your questions. Chuba Hubbard, DJ Moore, CeeDee Lamb is back, ladies and gentlemen. Get excited. Rashee Rice has served his time. He is back. Quentin Johnston's back, and George Kittle's back. Everybody, all your people you drafted in rounds 1 and 2, they're showing back up. Maybe like round 12 for Quentin Johnston if you were smart. Not expected to play today. Kyler Murray, Brock Bowers, Darius Slayton, and Storm Duck. Why is Storm Duck on here? Because I just wanted to say Storm Duck. And I saw his name on the list, and I'm like, I want to say Storm Duck this morning. So there we go. All right. If you're watching this here,
you wouldn't ask me about Storm Duck because I didn't have anything.
No, I just wanted to. I was like, oh, dude, okay. Anytime I can say his name, I want to say it. So much fun. But yeah, if you're watching this here on the Football Guys Live YouTube channel, make sure to like and subscribe. We appreciate you so much. And if you're watching us over on Twitter, jump over to YouTube now. Or you can stay on Twitter. I don't really care. All right, cool. All right, let's get into the questions. Jim, still on the island. Good morning. Half point PPR. Jordan Mason or Kamani Vidal? Colton, we'll go to you first.
Yeah, I also have to give Jim a shout out for his D-back shirt there. That's pretty cool. Shout out to the D-backs. Anyway. Nice. Jordan Mason, I think, is going to give you less pass catching upside, but that Eagles defense has been incredibly soft against the run as of late. Their stuff percentage right now is in single digits at 9.8. It's the worst stuff percentage in the NFL. They don't stack the box very often either. I think Jordan Mason's going to have some running room in that matchup. He's also a very physical runner, and maybe Jalen Carter being back affects that a little bit. But they've even struggled a little bit with him in the mix. It just feels like Jordan Mason is getting the Eagles at the right time, I should say. But you are getting slight upside with Kamani Vidal's pass catching. I think he has a much more difficult matchup this week, so I'm leaning Jordan Mason.
Okay. Every time you say stuff, I think the Orlando Magic mascot. It's like a dragon.
I didn't even know that was his name. Look at that.
He's awesome. He stands on the railing on like the upper deck. He's crazy. Just insane. Epidemic 619. Hola, mi amigos. 1 point per reception, and I need to start 2 between Bill Crosby Merritt, Rachaad White, Roma Dunze, or Mike Evans. And he's worried about Evans not being 100%. Thanks for always providing insight on the show. You're very welcome. Adam, let's go to you because we touched on Evans a little bit there. With these 4 guys, and you need to start 2. Who are the 2 you're going to start?
So I will say this. I feel pretty good about Mike Evans' availability this week and his production, but I think these are some really solid options given the uncertainty around Mike Evans and it being a later kickoff. I would pivot to some of these other guys. I do like Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt. I know he had a couple fumbles last week against Chicago, but I think he's got a really good matchup with Dallas. And then, man, I could go either way with Rachaad White or Roma Dunze. I think I would go Rachaad White just because I expect there to be a little bit of a higher floor. We talk about, again, some of those Tampa Bay pass catchers being out. Rachaad White certainly has the passing chops, receiving down work chops, I should say. So I think I would go Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt and Rachaad White.
Perfect. Citron Physics, good morning. And here we are again. Penix or Dart? Oh, Colton, Penix or Dart?
Give me Dart there. I think Dart's rushing upside has been one of the most underrated parts about him. I saw in that Thursday night matchup, which still haunts my dreams. His pocket presence, man, is unbelievable. His ability to navigate pressure and get out and make plays with his feet off script. I love that part about his game, and I think that gives you more of a fantasy floor too. and then he threw out Tucker or Kelsey in a wide receiver tight end spot. I think Kelsey is an interesting variable here with Rashi Rice back in the mix, but man, I think I'm still leaning Kelsey there over Trey Tucker. I think Trey Tucker is a little boom or bust. He's been slightly better, but I'm still thinking Kelsey and Dart there.
All right. With Ibuka being questionable, should I start DJ Moore or Isaiah Bond on Sunday, or wait and play Torrey Horton or Ibuka on Monday if Ibuka plays? Thanks as always. Adam, we didn't mention DJ Moore's name, but he was taken to the hospital with a groin issue. If you listen to the launch pad with Dave this week, they went into a little more depth of what the injury was. I'm not going to do that right now. But do we expect DJ Moore to be on the field this week?
I do. I don't think that's a bad pivot option with Torrey Horton, and I would recommend to everybody that is potentially holding out for Emeka Egbuka. We can go through a list of guys. Obviously the pass catchers in Tampa Bay: Sterling Shepard, Cameron Johnson, and Tez Johnson are options. We got 4 teams playing on Monday night. So Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, Xavier Hutchison, maybe in shallow league, Zach Charbonnet's out there, Nick Chubb. So make sure you have some of those options if you're holding out for Emeka Egbuka. But I would lean DJ Moore. I'm really skeptical about Emeka Egbuka playing. I just don't have a good feeling about it. I think they hold him out a week. So I would pivot to DJ Moore there.
All right. Waffles, ahoy. How you doing, Waffles? 12-team dynasty, 1 PPR, team name Puka Your Eyes Out, bench 1 from McBride, Kelsey, Kraft, or Dowdle. Oh, man. All 4 of those guys are – I think I would bench Kelsey out of those 4, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Dane, morning, boys. Morning to you, Dane. PPR, Waddle in the weather or Devonta Smith. It's going to be Devonta Smith. That weather is going to be terrible in Cleveland. And then pick 1 for the flex, Colton. Charbonnet, Spears, or Booty?
I think I like Spears out of that group. Booty had a great matchup last week and kind of saw a bit of a spike. Some of the underlying metrics were in line with what we've seen. He just caught 2 touchdowns. So it's a little tough to rely on that consistency. And then Charbonnet is a hair pulling situation right now. Like it's just brutal in Seattle. So I'm going Tyjae Spears. I like what I saw from him last week in his first week back.
So I did see some breaking news. Mike Evans likely to play against Detroit. We were expecting that, but just getting a little more confirmation is always nice to see. Andrew Phillips, PPR, Rico or Brees? Adam, pick a running back.
Yeah. The Panthers are like sneaky good against the run this year. If people have looked at some of those advanced metrics, the Panthers do not allow a lot of people to gain a lot of yards on the ground there. I know we're a little bit worried about Chuba Hubbard coming back. I don't know, man. I think the Panthers would be foolish to take Rico Dowdle off the field, at least not give him a significant workload. So I'd leave Rico Dowdle in the lineup.
And then Gabe saying, "Good morning, beautiful people." Oh, that's not nice to not say anything to Adam, but okay. PPR flex spot with Ken Walker or Egbuka if he goes. And before I go to Colton on this, another story coming through saying Egbuka has a real chance to play this week against the Lions. We'll see. I think Adam covered it really well. If you're putting him in there, just make sure you have a backup option and stick him in your flex. Don't put him as a wide receiver if you can help it. Colton, Ken Walker or Egbuka if he goes?
Yeah, I mentioned how infuriating that split has been with Charbonnet and Ken Walker. I did a little more digging on it for Fantasy Dreams and Nightmares this week. Check that out if you haven't, over on Footballguys. But do that every week. And Ken Walker actually only saw 2 red zone attempts to Zach Charbonnet's 6 last week, even though Zach Charbonnet has some of the worst goal to go metrics in the NFL right now. So it seems like they're wish casting him into that goal line back role, and he just has not performed in it. It seems like they want to get Ken Walker more involved, but that's just like such an infuriating situation that I think I'm still rolling the dice on Egbuka with obviously a pivot if it doesn't end up working out.
All right. And Scott, I previewed your question while Colton was talking. I think you're in a really good situation. I'd say play Mike Evans and then stick Woody Marks in if he doesn't play, because I really do believe Mike Evans is going to play. We all pretty much think he's going to be out there this week and not really used as a decoy. That was my big worry, was that, okay, the Bucs might just throw him out there because it's the Lions and just, might be a decoy. But the thing with Evans, even if he's a decoy, he's a red zone threat anytime, just to chuck it up in the end zone to pull the ball down. So, yeah. I think you're fine. So go ahead and start Mike Evans. And then if he doesn't play, stick Woody Marks in. Just make sure you got him in a flex spot so you can do that. And then stream Mayer or Gadsden, Adam.
Both have looked pretty good. I'm definitely intrigued by Rondé Gatson, but I'm using him more as a stash at this point. We saw with, Brock Bowers out, Michael Mayer was capable of sliding in that tight end one role. So I think Michael Mayer is definitely a safer option. I'd be playing him this week.
Okay. For this next question. I'm sorry, we got to bring it back for one time. Feed the Ducks. Colton, this question's going to go to you. I need some flexual healing. Keenan Allen versus Indy, Matthew Golden at Arizona, or Zach Charbonnet versus Houston. And it's on Monday night.
Dude, I was like, where is that music coming from? I was panicked. I was like, what tab is open on my screen right now? But let's see. Keenan, I'm trying to regroup after that. That was jarring. Let's see. I like
Jeff
what
is
I saw.
laughing. Jeff is laughing. Good. We've done
it. I do like what I saw against Matthew Golden last week post-bye. He was more involved. Obviously, the passing yardage was up a little higher, and we saw the snap percentage up a little more and things like that. So I think at this point, I'm riding momentum with Matthew Golden, and I'm leaning in that direction. I think that Arizona Green Bay game could be a little more sneaky competitive than maybe we think. So
perfect. All right. Did you guys like that joke?
No, that was good. I didn't know what was going on. Now that
Chat,
I'm
did you guys
aware
like
that.
Oh, thank you. Uh-oh. Joey's found the sound effects. We're in trouble now, guys. All right, let's get back to the questions. Toby also needs a wide receiver 3 with Pearsall still out and Myers being invisible and hopefully traded. There is a lot of rumors that Jacoby Myers might be heading maybe to New England. So Keenan Allen versus Indy, DJ Moore versus New Orleans, or roll the dice with Luther Burden and have PPR. Colton, I'll go to you. I'm not going to roll the dice with Luther Burden. I think it's between Keenan and DJ Moore. Where would you be on that?
Yeah, I'm with you. Keenan and DJ Moore, I'm probably leaning Keenan there. DJ Moore's role has been a little hit or miss in Chicago so far. So I think I'm leaning Keenan there.
All right. And I haven't even looked at who your start of the week is, but that's what we're transitioning to. Poor transition, Joey, on the start of the week. We're going to go right to it, though. Colton, talk to us about Quinshon Judkins.
Woo. Yeah, this felt a little chalky, man. This felt like, can I make Quinshon Judkins my start of the week? It feels like he's everybody's start of the week, but we're going to go with it because you'd be hard-pressed to find anything Miami does well right now. They allow explosive plays, 32 runs of 10 or more yards. It's the most in the league. 1.62 rushing yards over expected is by far the worst allowed. Little to no push at the snap, all of those things. Quinshon Judkins had a weird usage pattern last week. He was involved less than he's been all season and definitely at a lower rate than he was in Dylan Gabriel's first start. Obviously, the weather is going to be horrendous in that game too, which I think spells a little more of a run-heavy script here. I think Cleveland wants to get back to featuring Judkins. He is one of their most skilled players. They had to get away from that a little bit last week. We saw how that worked out. It is a great matchup, a great bounce back spot. I love Quinshon Judkins this week. I think he has a real shot at being the RB1 overall if we're getting wild. So there you go, man.
All right. Adam, talk to us about Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, I mean, when I do these, I like to drop some stats for Joey. I really don't have a ton this week. This is purely a vibes play, as I expect Mike Vrabel to go scorched earth against the Tennessee Titans here. Whether we like it or not, they don't seem to like Travion Henderson in New England, or at least they don't trust him just yet. The Antonio Gibson injury, which was a season-ending injury, we did not see Travion Henderson's role really expand much at all. Ramondre Stevenson is leading that New England backfield in snap share, rushing opportunities share, and goal line touches. If you believe in Drake May, if you believe in this New England offense, and you believe that Mike Vrabel is going to want blood this week against Tennessee, then sprinkling in some Ramondre Stevenson as a flex play option seems like the right choice. I do like him to score a touchdown this week.
All right. Sounds good. Well, Colton, your time on the show has come to an end. We love you. We're glad you're here with us. Any final words for the people today?
Go Devils, go Birds.
Okay.
And thank you so much for having me on. Short and sweet, man. I'm
There we
working on
go.
my short and sweet a little bit. So there you go.
You're good. All right, buddy. Well, thanks for being here, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Later, guys.
Bye. And that brings on Jeff. Let me get you your proper. There we go. We got your name on. Jeff, how are we doing today, buddy?
Doing fantastic, Joey. It's Sunday. We get football. It's a rainy day here in Ohio, and we know it's a very rainy day in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm not in Cleveland though, but it's we're ready for football, and I think we're right in the sweet spot of the season, halfway point of the fantasy regular season, and I can't believe that.
Okay. Well, do you want to talk about your start of the week? Evan
Yeah,
Ingram?
my start of the week is going to be Evan Ingram with the Denver Broncos going up against the New York Giants. We have a fun revenge narrative here with Evan Ingram. We have Evan Ingram coming in 6 targets at least in each of the last 3 games, really establishing himself as part of that Denver Broncos passing attack. Scored a touchdown 2 weeks ago. Actually, his first career NFL road touchdown came in this matchup, in the Giants and Broncos matchup at Mile High Field. He caught his first ever road touchdown. The Giants were 0-5 coming in on Ingram's rookie season. He caught that touchdown early in the game. It was really a catalyst for the Giants to be able to win their first game of the season. Mike Kliss does a fantastic job with the Denver Broncos beat report. And he had a great story this week about Ingram remembering how much that touchdown meant to him. And so they're coming into this matchup here. We saw a muted passing attack from the Broncos last week because there was no real threat from the Jets. I think that the Giants are bringing some excitement in off of Dart and Scatabo. I think that Ingram finds the end zone, gets up to 4 or 5 receptions, and he's going to be a worthwhile start at your tight end spot.
Sounds great. And guys, I have a surprise for you. I always threaten it that I'm going to have a start of the week. And I actually had Dylan prepare a graphic for me this week. My start of the week is Cade Otton. Cade Otton, listen, when we said it last week, when the Bucs are sick, they go to Pedialyte, they go to Cade Otton. Last week, he had 6 targets. The week before, 5. Weeks 7 through 10 last year, he was averaging double-digit targets. I know Mike Evans is going to be back, but when the Bucs need a dependable option down the middle of the field and their normal X or slot receivers are not there, they go to Cade Otton. Start him in a flex spot if you can. Start him as a starting tight end. I'm as a top 12 tight end this week. Even with Mike Evans back, I am playing me some Cade Otton. And I really, before I even liked him this week, I just wanted that graphic. And now I have it. And we're in a beautiful place because of it. Jeff, do you want to get to the thank you. Yeah. Shout out to Dylan who makes all these graphics for us. He kicks butt and we love Dylan. He often calls me a king, but no, Dylan, you are the king. Jeff, do you want to talk to us about all the revenge game narratives?
Yeah, revenge game narratives that we have going on this week. Obviously, I already mentioned Evan Ingram. We have Carson Wentz, the Minnesota Vikings, going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of emotion in that game going on there. We have little Jordan Humphrey in the New York Giants-Denver game. We have a lot of cross-pollination in this New York Giants-Denver game. Actually, Broncos coach Sean Payton, his first ever offensive coordinator job was with the New York Giants. And so that goes way back. And then they have little Jordan Humphrey on the Giants side, Ingram on the Denver side. We know Russell Wilson is going to be on the sidelines on the Giants side. In this Jacksonville Rams game, it's a really fun week because there are a lot of through threads throughout the NFL this week. This Jacksonville Rams game, we know that James Gladstone, the GM from the Jaguars, came from the Rams organization. Liam Cohen was offensive coordinator with Sean McVay. We have 2 tight ends here with Jacksonville. We haven't seen them do much, but Hunter Long and Johnny Munt used to be Jacksonville Jaguars. We have in the Kansas City Las Vegas game, there's interesting narratives because obviously Andy Reid, the coach of the Chiefs, and then Chip Kelly comes in as the offensive coordinator for the Raiders. Chip Kelly succeeded Andy Reid in Philadelphia, was Reid was fired and Chip Kelly was brought in. Gardner Minshew is in that game, not going to be in that game, hopefully, but he's going to be at that game. We have some interesting Washington-Dallas through lines. Noah Brown is a former Cowboy. He's on IR. He's not going to play, but Dan Quinn, the coach of the Commanders, came from the Dallas organization as the defense coordinator there. And then I think the last one worth mentioning, obviously, I mean, we know what we have in New England with Mike Vrabel going up against the Titans. Van Jefferson kind of emerged last week. His dad was a New England Patriot, like right when Van was born from 96 through 99. So Van's first couple years alive, his dad was a Patriot. So that's fun. But then I think the last one I do want to talk about is the Chargers and the Colts. We have maybe Nyheim Hines playing against the Colts. We know that. We have Jim Harbaugh, former Colts quarterback, going up against the Colts as head coach. We have Shane Steichen, who was the offensive coordinator for the Chargers when Justin Herbert was drafted. So Justin Herbert's first offensive coordinator was Shane Steichen, going up the head coach of the Chargers or the Colts. I'm sorry. And then we know Phillip Rivers, like going way back, played for both of these organizations. So just kind of some through lines that we're going through. And I think that while we're walking down Narrative Street, I do want to mention the fun matchup that we have with the Saints and Bears quarterbacks, where we have Spencer Rattler with the Saints and Caleb Williams with the Bears. And so Rattler was the quarterback. He was, if you remember the Netflix show Quarterback, who was showing high school, Spencer Rattler, high regarded recruit, lost his job at Oklahoma to Caleb Williams. So there's some fun narratives in that one as well.
Jeff, I never regret when I ask you about it, because it's always today I think was the big, like, overflowing cup of knowledge with the revenge game narratives. But
more fun stuff too if we want to talk
even
about
have you guys seen this is our Colts, this is our team, we love you? Have you seen that guy? That is
Yes.
the Colts.
No, I've never seen that guy. I've never heard of that guy. Can you seen that again?
No,
maybe
I won't.
refresh.
They actually gave him the halftime show at a preseason game this year, but he actually mentioned Jim Harbaugh during the song this week and said that we still love him. And I thought that was really sweet.
And
that guy
Harbaugh
awesome.
had comments when he was 49ers coach about how much his time with Indianapolis meant to him. Because if you remember, if you're old like me and you remember, he lost his job in Chicago, was kind of flushed out there, supposed to be the next savior coming in after Jim McMahon. And the Colts really resurrected his career, and he almost made it to the Super Bowl. Aaron Bailey, that Hail Mary against, not even really a Hail Mary, but close to a Hail Mary against the Steelers in the AFC title game on that super fun Colts run. So game does mean something, probably to Shane Steichen as well, given his ties with the Chargers with Justin Herbert.
Yeah. If you're old like Jeff. I think I'm older than you, Jeff. I'm not sure.
We're close.
We discussed this. Anyways. Good morning, guys. Need some advice. 1 point per reception. Flex Trey Tucker or Juwan Jennings tonight, or Kenneth Walker tomorrow. Jeff, pick one.
1 point per PPR. I'm going to go with Trey Tucker here. As surprising as that might sound, I think we've seen the relationship with Trey Tucker and Geno Smith. I would expect the way the Chiefs offense is running, even though they have a strong defense, that the Raiders to be playing from behind. So I'll play Trey Tucker here.
Yeah, I actually put Trey Tucker ahead of Jacoby Myers in my rankings this week. So
me too.
Mm-hmm. Flex PPR.
Catch a touchdown. So
I mean, I think they're going to have to throw if they're going to compete today. So Flex PPR, Mitchell, Moore, McCaffrey, or Wilson, or a Green Bay running back. Oh,
Wilson, the Green Bay
running back. Adam, pick one. I mean, wait.
I'm blanking on who's Mitchell.
That has to be Luke McCaffrey.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Keaton Mitchell. So Keaton Mitchell. Luke McCaffrey. That's probably DJ Moore.
Be like a lot of different people.
Yeah. I guess if that's DJ Moore, I would lean DJ Moore. If that's the Washington wide receiver, Chris Moore or Luke McCaffrey, I tend to prefer Luke McCaffrey a little bit more than Chris Moore. I just think he's done well with some of the limited opportunities that he's got this year, and kind of stepped into the role that they like Terry McLaurin to play for that offense. So I would lean Luke McCaffrey, but if we got word that Josh Jacobs was ruled out, obviously Emmanuel Wilson would move up to the top of that list.
All right. Jakob saying, good morning. Jalen Coker, Tez Johnson, Booty, or Burton, sit one. Jeff, sit one.
If I'm sitting one, it's going to be Tez Johnson, just because should Emeka Buka be active, Tez Johnson's not going to play. So I think that's just kind of, I don't know. We're iffy on what Burton's role is going to be, but I think that there is a scenario where Tez Johnson just doesn't even play at all.
Yeah, real quick, Jeff and Adam, both you guys can comment on this. This will be the first game that Bryce Young has his full arsenal of weapons as disposal. It seems like every week there's been one or two guys out for him. Could this be a turning point for Bryce Young, or have what we've seen is what we get this season?
So my larger concern that we are seeing in some of these games, and Dave Klugian and I talked about it a little bit this week on our show, is what we saw from Denver last week, where this Jets offense is just so horrid that teams are not even they don't even have to try really on offense, and they know as long as they don't make a mistake, they're going to beat this offense. That's what we saw the Broncos do last week, and I think that the Panthers would love nothing more than to run 45 times with Rico Dowdle, with Chuba Hubbard. That's their ideal game plan anyways. And it's interesting because, like, you look at fantasy points allowed, the Titans, I wouldn't say the Titans are a particularly good defense, but they're number one in the fewest fantasy points allowed to the quarterback position. And similar, where Cam Ward has just struggled so badly that teams just haven't even needed to try to utilize their quarterbacks. And so I do think that one of the things that we're seeing developing across the league is some of these game plans basically say, as long as we don't make any mistakes, we're going to win this game. And that's what I worry about going to anything in Carolina outside of the running backs or Tedero McMillan. You're going to play him.
Okay. We got an active as we were discussing that question. Jacoby Myers is going to be out today. So if you've got Jacoby Myers in your lineups, get him out. Trey Tucker is obviously a great substitution for him if you need it. So, yep, take that information as you will. Rarely do the questionables. It seems like this year's been like we've gotten some pretty good information from the coaches. So pour one out for anyone forced to start Trevor Lawrence this week. Yeah, he's putting up a big old pooper on the field right now. Yeah. I don't think I had to start.
And that kind of goes into what I was talking about, where like the Jaguars aren't threatening at all. And so while the Rams offense was humming in the first half, they haven't needed to do anything in the second half. And these teams are more than willing to just sit on the ball and not give the other team a chance to come back into these games.
Mm-hmm. Good point, Jeff. A great day for football. Any day is a great day for football. Non-PPR, which tight end trap should they fall into? Pitts or Mason Taylor? Jeff.
I'm going to go with Mason Taylor here. We've seen the Panthers tight end position has been the way to kind of attack the Panthers without Garrett Wilson in the lineup. If the Jets get anything going at all, it's going to have to be, I think, to Mason Taylor.
Perfect. And MJ, play Trey Tucker. Now that the news came out that Jacoby Myers is going to miss, definitely your best option of what you have there. Close with Cooper Kupp, though. All right. The Vikings in here with us again this week. Good morning. Please pick 3. Oh, making us do all the work for you. That's all right. We'll do it. Keenan Allen, AJ Brown, Trey Tucker, Kamani Vidal, Jalen Coker, or Bam Knight. So pick 3, and that's half-point PPR. Adam.
I think the order they put him in is the order that I would play them. I'm playing Keenan Allen. I'm reluctantly leaving AJ Brown in my lineup. Trey Tucker news with Jacoby Myers being out boosts him up. So those are the 3 I would play.
All right. And Matthew, good morning, Matthew. Tight end help. Which bad weather quarterback tight end do you want the most, Jeff? Fannin or Waller?
I'd rather have Fannin, because I think the short passing game, if they pass the ball at all, it's going to be through the short passing game. And really, you're looking at this full PPR. You're hoping Fannin catches 5 or 6 balls just in the short passing game. They've attacked with Darren Waller vertically down the field and in the red zone. I don't know if that's going to be an option against a tough Browns defense.
All right, Darius wanted to know, I guess that's Travion Henderson or Marvin Harrison Jr.? I'd go Marvin Harrison Jr. Okay. Hey, boys, step into my office. All right, well, I'm here. I need one. Jaden Higgins, Illuminor, Burden, or pick up. Is that Chris Moore? Jeff, pick 1 in PPR.
1 in PPR. I mean, my gut says go with Aomanor without Calvin Ridley in there. I don't know that I love any parts of this Titans offense. I think probably if you're shooting for the biggest upside, I'd go with Chris Moore, just the unknown, in a potential shootout matchup.
All right, Trone Force. Are we trusting Olave today, Adam?
Yeah. Especially over Devonta Smith. It's been tough having any Eagles pass catcher and getting any type of consistent fantasy production minus Dallas Goedert scoring fake tush push touchdown. So give me some Chris Olave.
All right, Jeff coming in with what I think might be the question of the morning. Because at first I was like, this is easy. And then I started thinking about it and I was like, well, maybe it won't be so easy. So, hey guys, I have Josh Jacobs and I picked up Emmanuel Wilson. Decisions I have: Rico, Rashad White, and Kamara plus Pickens. What should I do with 2 running backs in 1 flex spot? For me, I'm definitely playing Pickens in a flex spot. Even with CD Lamb back, what we've seen to George Pickens, we can't deny he's definitely a great option there with Dallas. What are we doing with the 2 running back spots, Jeff?
I'm going to play Rashad White. We know heavy volume there, potential shootout game script with the Lions. I know the Lions are tough against the running backs, but White can get there in the passing game. Given what we've seen with Dowdle, I really have a hard time sitting Dowdle. And I think that this is a good, just fundamental way to approach some of these late inactives that we have. Of if you've got solid spot starts, then just take them when you've got them. And you kind of have to play that game a little bit. I know our friend Corey was asking us earlier the week about Jalen Warren or DeAndre Swift, and we kind of said Swift, and then Jalen Warren had a good game against the Bengals, and we knew that Swift was questionable, and Corey's like, well, what do you pivot to instead? I jokingly said Warren, but that is kind of a good way to approach these. If you have good options, just play them when you got them.
Yeah, Jeff, I want to apologize to you. You made a statement early in the season about Thursday Night Football has been great, or something along those lines, and I scoffed at it. But man, Thursday Night Football has been great.
It's the best product in the league right now. It really, I mean, I know the quality play could be better with bye weeks and whatnot, but I think what Amazon's production, I think is the best in the league right now.
Yeah, it's been great, and the games have been really solid. I mean,
I think Amazon kind of said, stop giving us Titans Jaguars on Thursday night. Like, we need some matchups, and I think the league obliged.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Any news on Ibuka? It looks like there's a good chance he might play. Like we said at the top of the show, though, make sure you have him in the flex and you have a backup option. 4 teams playing on Monday, so you'll have options to put in there for him. Jeff, who's your favorite kind of widely available option if Ibuka doesn't play?
Widely available option without Ibuka, I would go Tez Johnson as the available option without Ibuka. I think last week we saw Ibuka in the X. I think regardless of health, Mike Evans plugs into that X, and we saw Tez Johnson be the regular on the other side of the field with Ibuka out. I think Tez Johnson would be the regular. I would lean Sterling Shepard if he's still available in your league over Tez Johnson, but I do think you'll get Tez Johnson out there with big play potential in a matchup that I want to target.
Perfect. Jeff, were you watching the show earlier when I snuck Storm Duck into the show?
I did not.
Yeah, I got him in there for you. Okay. Morning, guys. Can't believe this is a question, but PPR, Genty or Vidal? I don't think that crazy of a question. I think it is Genty, but I'm glad you asked. Vidal has a competent quarterback, while Casey can totally sell out to stop the run. Thanks. Let's have a great day. That's true. I do want to have a great day. I'm still going to play Genty over Vidal. Andrew, happy Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday to you. How do we think Kelsey's role changes with Rice back today? I'm struggling to start him or Waller in the bad weather. Adam, what are you doing at the tight end there?
Yeah, I mean, I think I lean with the consensus that we expect Travis Kelsey's role to take a big hit. I mean, his production really struggled last year when Rashee Rice was healthy. Travis Kelsey's fantasy season was salvaged a little bit, but it was definitely on the back end after Rashee Rice tore his LCL. So even in the bad weather, I don't mind guys that get a high target share. So if you're in a pinch, like Darren Waller, I think is an okay option. Depend on the options with like Jalen Waddle, but like I'm okay fitting Jalen Waddle in there, Harold Fan, and then both the running backs on both teams. And then outside of that, I'd probably stay away from everybody else.
All right, so Dan's looking for a substitute in case Jacobs is out today. Jamison Williams or Jordan Addison? What do you like better, Jeff?
I'm going to go with Jameson Williams here. I know we saw some goodness out of the Giants passing attack against the Seagulls defense. I just want pieces of Bucks Lions because that game, every Bucks game shoots out. That's just the way it is. Every team gets up big and then Baker Mayfield brings it back. So I want that game.
So I'm a big proponent of let the tiebreaker in your leagues be a player you like. Because of that, I have a lot of Buccaneers and I have a lot of Lions. If I got similar guys in a tier during drafts, Monday night's going to be big for me. I just have so many people playing Monday night in that Bucks Lions game. I'm looking forward to it. Daniel Dopp, if you're watching, our bet from last year stands. I knew you had to wear an all-star jersey on ESPN. I'll wear a Lions jersey on this show. No trouble at all. Golden or Luke McCaffrey in the flex, Adam?
Golden, Matthew Golden. I've liked what I've seen the last couple of weeks from him, and I think that we're on the verge of a potential breakout. Earlier in the season, Jordan Love missed him on a couple long touchdown passes that definitely could have influenced his fantasy numbers. He connects on one of those. It's wheels up for Matthew Golden.
Okay. And question off
I know
the
we're
board.
running behind on questions a little bit, but I do want to make a point of if you're active on social media, it seems like everybody is throwing out these Commanders wide receivers. But then when I look at consensus ranks, they're all ranked as wide receiver 5s. And I think that we do these things kind of sometimes in the space where we talk about these deep guys and the matchup and everything else, but I don't know that anybody definitively can tell you which Commanders receiver you want. And so I think people get tripped up on these start sit questions sometimes of some guy was arguing in comments about Kendrick Bourne or a random Commanders wide receiver. And I was kind of why are you going to sit the guy that's had 140 yards the last 2 games? That's kind of, I think that the context gets lost in that conversation sometimes.
Absolutely. I mean, like Jeff's saying, if there's going to be a pass catcher in Washington, it's probably the guy that's been catching passes weekly, and that's Zach Ertz. So I agree with you, Jeff. Question off the board: is Golden still the best song from K-pop Demon Hunters, Jeff, or is another one risen up the charts for you?
It's Golden, just kind of
so solid.
It gets you going up. All
right. Happy Sunday, quarterback Fields, Darnold, or Dart. Thanks, and have a great winning day. Oh, I like that, Steve. Adam, pick a quarterback for us.
I know we've certainly been intrigued by Jackson Dart. I think I would go Sam Darnold. I just worry about that Denver defense, and they are playing at Denver. Jackson Dart has given us some good fantasy value with his legs. Sam Darnold's been so solid this year. And if you looked at our consensus rankings, we have Jackson Smith and Jigba as the wide receiver 1 this week. I mean, if you like him, I'm going to tail it a little bit with Sam Darnold. So I go Darnold.
Okay. Davek Luge, please reassure me that the process was correct when I traded away Devontae Adams for Brian Thomas Jr. and Bowers a few weeks ago. Jeff, can you assure this young man? Or no?
It seems like Brock Bowers is very, very close to returning, where you saw 2 touchdowns in this game without Puka Nacua out of the lineup, but we have seen Adams take a secondary role. And we've seen before this game, Brian Thomas Jr. was trending upwards. It's just been a rough game for the Jaguars side. So I think in the long run, the play that you're making is Bowers gives you elite tight end production, and you're ideally playing for the playoffs to have that kicker in your tight end spot.
Perfect. And guys, we're going to get through every question that I see on the board here. We're going to rapid fire through the rest of these, but if you get in here a little late and you don't get your question answered, Jeff Blaylock will be over in the Football Guys Discord answering questions up until kickoff. So get in there and get your questions answered by Jeff. He knows his stuff. Dan, full PPR, Ferguson or Warren at tight end? Adam, pick a tight end.
Those are 2 good options. I am going Tyler Warren.
Okay. Jack, good morning, guys. Tough flex and tough tight end decision and a half PPR. Kelsey or Fannin at tight end, Jeff?
Half PPR, I'd probably just go with Kelsey because Mahomes has been so red hot that I'm still going to rank Kelsey ahead of Fannin.
All right. And then for the flex, Fannin's included Golden, Wan'Dale Robinson, or Tony Pollard.
I'm going to go Golden here, just the potential upside of the Packers attack, and with potentially Josh Jacobs out of the lineup, leaning on the playmakers that they do know that they have.
Yeah, John wants to know Sam Darnold or Bryce Young. I'd go Sam Darnold. Chrissy, Wilson, welcome in. Got a great mess. Well, I don't. Oh, it's a fantasy question. We can handle that. I was worried you had a mess. Like we can't do anything. We're on camera right now. Starting Gibbs, Taylor at running back. That's great. And London and Adams at wide receiver. Oh boy, you were killing it. Need my flex pick between Rice or Judkins. Man, Chrissy, that is a question. I'm actually going to expand out the question a little bit. Would we bench either London, Gibbs, or Taylor and switch that around at all?
No.
Or is the flex going to be Rice or Judkins?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to double check on that. And so, Jeff, pick a flex.
Any PPR level at all in your league, I'm going to go with Rashee Rice. If there's no PPR, then I'll go with Judkins there.
Way to cop out on that answer, Jeff. No, that's a good answer.
I don't know the scoring.
No, that's I would say the exact same thing. Such a safe answer. Nicholas Clark, would you trade Travion Henderson for Pearsall? Adam, would you make that trade?
I wouldn't, because Travion Henderson's actually healthy. And I know he's not giving you a lot, but anytime you trade for an injured player, you're taking on a massive portion of risk. So Travion Henderson's healthy. If Ramondre Stevenson gets hurt this week, you're going to have, a top 20 running back.
All right. And we're going to get through these real fast. Ashton Genty or Rico Dowdle, Jeff?
Genty.
Start two. Odunze, Quentin Johnston, Ferguson, or Jordan Mason, Adam?
I'm going to start Odunze and Quentin Johnson.
All right, Luther, great show on BBC. Idris Elba, killed it. Great job, Swim. One more, please. PPR, Fannin and the weather, Jawan or Theo Johnson, Jeff?
I'm going to go Fannin. Juwan Johnson's been a nothing since the first 2 weeks. We get these narratives stuck in our head. He's really not been involved since then.
All right. Nico Collins, Kendrick Bourne, or Rico Dowdle, Adam?
Nico Collins.
I don't know, Rico, you never know. Queen, we love Rashee Rice. He should jump right back into this with minimal.
We love Rashee Rice fantasy football.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the caveat there, Jeff. They put those signs on the road for a reason, folks. Please obey them. Was that speeding?
I thought they were suggestions. Yeah. They're not suggestions.
Right. Anyways. Yeah.
Depends what state you're in, I think.
Yeah. And the ones that the number goes up, that's not to see how high you can get at people. You're supposed to stay at the speed limit. It's not a game. Happy Sunday. Looking for thoughts on my second flex spot. Dowdle, Walker, Addison, Moore, or Dobbs, Adam?
My second flex spot. Rico Dowdle.
Okay. We crammed through like 5 questions in 1 minute, guys. I was really proud of us there. Happy Sunday. Addison or Diggs, Jeff?
Addison or Diggs? Full PPR. Give me Diggs here.
All right. Toby wants to know Pedialyte Otten versus Jeff start of the week in Ingram. Jeff, I'll go to you.
I have Ingram ranked slightly ahead of Otten.
Okay. And I am quite a bit higher on Otten this week. So, all right. Andrew, how about Brissett or Bryce Young in a super flex in the battle of the meh matchups? Adam?
Give me some Jacoby Brissett. I think he's got a little bit of a better matchup.
I thought Seth called him Dandruff Swift. Just missing that one little whatever that is called, a little mark. So DeAndre Swift or Rico Dowdle, Jeff?
Rico Dowdle.
All right. And then in the flex spot, put Tucker Kraft in there, Ryan. Davik wants to thank you, Jeff. He needed to hear that. What would he do without you? We don't know. We already answered that, Ryan. Just wanted to double check. Yeah, Tucker Kraft. Need 2 on a flex. Dunze, Pickens, JSN, and Evans. Whoo! That's a lineup. Adam, pick 3.
Give me Pickens. Yeah, give me Pickens, JSN, and then I feel good about Mike Evans playing this week. I think that's a great matchup. I go Mike Evans.
Man, I would really struggle. Saldana, go make a trade. Not now because it's way too late, but make a trade this next week if all 4 of those wide receivers make it out healthy. And I just probably curse that from happening. So you can thank me later for that. Happy Sunday, guys. Should I go May or Herbert? Drake May is our QB2 on Football Guys consensus rankings. Jeff, are you there? Would you rather go
Yeah,
Herbert?
I've got May above Herbert.
Okay. And Tez or Bam Knight? I think you got to go Bam Knight it sounds like Igbuka. I almost forgot his name. I say it so many times. How could I forget it? I think if he's going to play, Tez is not really an option. Been enjoying trivia on Tuesdays. Thank you so much, Scott. We enjoy playing trivia on Tuesdays with you. I know Jake's having a good time. I'm having a good time. And guys, it is 11:58. I said we'd get through every question. We got through every question. Just to review, we'll go through the starts of the week again. I'm recommending Pedialyte also because I had the flu this weekend and I made it through because of Pedialyte, but also Kate Otten. I do think he's absolutely a start this week as either a flex or a tight end. Even with Mike Evans on the field, I feel really good about him. Jeff, Evan Ingram, you want to give us a little brief spit on Evan Ingram?
He is going to score a touchdown against his former team, the New York Giants, in a matchup that he scored a touchdown in the last time he played in. What he was a Giant going against the Broncos that time.
You're such a pro. And then Colton's not here, so he can't say anything. Judkins is going to be great in a bad weather game. And then Ramondre Stevenson. Patriots don't love him. They don't love Travion Henderson. So going with Ramondre, Adam.
That's what I'm doing. If you buy into Jeff's narrative of revenge games, I mean, the ultimate revenge game is Mike Vrabel versus Tennessee.
All right. Adam, any final words to the people today?
Nope. Good luck to everybody. Make sure you guys are subscribing to Football Guys. Check in Monday around noon. I'll have the injury roundup from these injuries from this past Sunday, and good luck to everybody.
Perfect. Jeff, I always love you leaving us out. Let's go ahead.
And check out my Monday roundup, published around the same time as Adam's injury roundup. And I try to weave Adam's work into my work. Adam does a great job, so make sure to check that out as well. I think looking at just kind of some of these holistic start-sit questions, go with volume over volatility of a good matchup and lean on the good matchups like the Commanders receivers if you are just desperate and you need to plug somebody in and you want like that boom bust upside. But I just approach any questions like that. But now that we are here at our time, get one win this week. That's what we're trying to do. Get one win this week, set your lineup to be able to accomplish that, beat the opponent in front of you. And as always, clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
Everybody, have a great day. Enjoy your games.